my breath. In the meantime, we do have a quorum, so we will call this February 16th, 2023 meeting of the Safeco Board of Directors to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you. Director Desmond? Director Martian?
Here.
Thank you. Director Sloan?
Here.
Chairman Kennedy?
Here.
Director Nava?
Here.
Director Jennings?
Here.
Director Kaplan?
Here.
Director Telemontes? Vice Chairman Holloway?
Here.
Thank you, Director Telemontes. Vice Chairman Holloway?
Here.
Director Shaw? Director Abdus?
Here.
Director Lee Reeder?
Present.
Director Conant? We do have a 10-member quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? We begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting of SAFECA is being recorded and aired live and will be re-aired on Metro Cable Channel 14 on Saturday, February 18th at 2 p.m. This meeting will also be available on SAFECA's website within 48 hours after the meeting. Just as a reminder, please leave your microphones on mute when you are not speaking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will move to public comments. Are there any public comments, Madam Clerk?
I have just checked my email again and have not received any public comments.
Okay, and is there any member of the public that is on Zoom or WebEx that has anything they would like to address the board in at this time, particularly on those items not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, next item, please.
Consent matters, items 1 through 7 are in order.
Are there any members of the board that have any questions or comments on items on consent? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that have any comments or anything they'd like to see pulled from consent?
Shaw.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's Director Shaw.
Thank you, Director Shaw. I have you marked present.
Thank you, Director. All right, hearing no comments or questions from either the board or the public, is there a motion?
I'll move consent, Desmond, and I'm also present.
Second, Telemontes.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Desmond and a second by Director Talamontes. Please call the roll.
Director Desmond.
Aye.
Director Martian. Director Martian.
Hi. Yes.
Thank you. Director Sloan.
Yes.
Chairman Kennedy.
Aye.
Director Nava.
Aye.
Director Jennings.
Yes.
Director Kaplan.
Aye.
Director Talamontes.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Holloway.
Aye.
Director Shaw.
Aye.
Director Abdus.
Aye.
Director Lee Reeder.
Aye.
Director Conant. Motion passes with a 12-member quorum.
Thank you. Next item.
Is the Executive Director's Report for February 16th, 2023.
Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. Rick Johnson, Executive Director. So last month we talked a lot about all the contracts that are coming up this year. So some has happened on some of them since our last board meeting. I just wanted to give you a quick update. Lindy, if you go to the next slide, please. So the Sacramento Weir widening, that's one of our major features that is coming up for construction. The Corps did put that project out to bid the end of January and are expecting bids to close by April. So that's good news that one got out on the streets. Lindy, if you go to the next one, the main contract for raising the main dam and redoing the main gates at Spillway or at Folsom, the main gates of the Folsom Dam and Spillway, and then also the right and left wing dams. That project was put out to bid in September. It's not the normal solicitation where they select the low bidder. This one's kind of based on a best value. It's a combination of the price plus they evaluate the proposals from the contractors as to how they're going to go about doing this work while keeping the dam functional over the next few years. And so with that, the contractors had to submit a lot of, answer a lot of questions and submit proposals as to how they are actually going to do the work. And then the team that's evaluating it has an opportunity to ask further questions to help define things. They have done that. And so as a result of that, need to give the contractors and the evaluation team some more time. So there may be a little more back and forth there. So we were hoping to see the bid award by the end of February, but it's going to go beyond that. But they've assured us it won't be any later than May. So within the next 2 months, we should have that one awarded. Lindy, if you go to the next slide, please. So we did have bid opening last week on American River Common Features in the Natomas Basin, Reach E, which is up on the northern end of the basin on the east side. We had 3 bids. The low bid was about just under 28 million. The government estimate's about 47.2 million. So they have to go through and check the bids and make sure they were responsive, but we did get good bids again. So that was encouraging news. Lindy, if you go to the next slide. So up on the American River watershed up at the Folsom Dam, this is a joint federal project. As we mentioned before, found that the coating on the rods that operate the hydraulic cylinders are already cracking, and those are being replaced. So if you go to the next slide, Lindy, they did award that contract to Granite Construction at the end of January for 16.6 million, which was right around what the government estimate was. So that now will be moving forward over the next 6 years. So if you go to the next slide, Lindy. And then also had another contract award. This is for the work on Common Features 2016 down in the Pocket area. It's the last major levee contract that we expect down in that area. It picked up all the areas that weren't done before, basically in the Pocket area. It was awarded for about 27.5 million. There are 7 options that will be awarded throughout the year for another 4.4 million. And it went to Maloney Odin joint venture. So it's good to have those contracts awarded so they can be ready to go when April hits construction season. So if you go to the next slide, changing gears a little bit. After COVID hit, we had to move offices since the elevators had been out for over a year in our old building. And we had moved into the same building that the Corps is in, just up on J Street, right across from the convention center. We were in some temporary space split between the 15th and 19th floor while we waited for the 17th floor offices to be vacated. So they have been, and we're now in the middle of moving downstairs. So these will be our permanent offices, still in the same building, but on the 17th floor. Then if you go to the next slide, Lindy. So starting March 2nd, our executive committee meetings will be held in person like they were pre-COVID. There won't be a virtual component. We'll hold them in the county administration building in hearing room 2, which is right outside the boardroom there. And if you go to the next one there. And so starting at our March 16th board meeting, it again will be in person, no virtual component, but it will be televised as always in the county administration building in the Board of Supervisors chamber. So just wanted to make sure everyone is aware of that moving forward. That's all I had. See if there's any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Chair Kennedy, this is Lisa Kaplan. Quick question.
Yes, Director Kaplan.
So question on, well, we're on Zoom. There was a little issue of finding quorum. Curious as to why, especially with our executive director meetings, why there would not be an option for online. I think that would increase our chances of having a quorum and participation, and in this new age, finding a split happy medium. Because I do know many of our directors might have issues getting in for in-person meetings.
So the reason we didn't plan on it was with the regulations, we'll have to go back to any board member calling in would have to tell us where they're going to be calling from. We'll have to post that as part of the agenda notice, and they'll have to make that space available to the public. And so given the logistics of that, it seemed pretty onerous, especially on the executive committee meetings. We never take business, so the quorum isn't near as critical, but that's the main reason. I mean, we could certainly look at that, but that would be the challenge, is getting, we have to post it a little over a week ahead. We'd have to have all the board members telling us where they're going to be so we can post it, and then they will have to make those locations available to the public. So logistic wise, it seemed a little difficult. So we were just assuming we'd go back the way we were before.
Which I appreciate that, Mr. Johnson, in that background, because I think it's important, though, that we keep the option open so that the state can catch up. While I know, the emergency protocols are, being sunset, I think this way of increasing public participation and everybody else of potentially having that option to meet virtually, if it comes back up so that it can be more streamlined, I would be very much in favor and support of that, because it does make it difficult sometimes to attend in person.
Okay. And we could certainly make that happen, but it would take cooperation from the board members to make that happen. So,
another suggestion for that, Mr. Johnson, is to contact AQMD, Alberto Ayala's office. I know that they are reaching out to different boards and commissions to give their interpretation of the changes to the Brown Act. And in this circumstance, it's actually not even changes. It's, the same rules that applied before the pandemic as far as the public notice wherever you are. But they've got some ideas on how to make it easier. Obviously, they're air quality management districts, so they're interested in telecommuting. But it might be worth checking in with them to see what they're doing to follow and adhere to the law while still addressing Director Kaplan's issues.
okay, we'll check on that then.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
Chairman Committee, I have not received any public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Then are you through, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
All right, then we will move to closed session.
And just as a reminder, directors, please look for your join on your pop-up screen to go ahead and go into closed session. Director Desmond,
Here.
Director Martian,
Here.
Director Sloan,
Here.
Chairman Kennedy, Chairman Kennedy,
Here.
Director Nava,
Here.
Director Jennings,
Here.
Director Kaplan,
Here.
Director Talamentes,
Here.
Vice Chairman Holloway,
Present.
Director Shaw,
Here.
Director Abdes,
Here.
Director Lee Reeder.
Here.
We have a 12-member quorum established. Next slide, please. Do we have a report out on closed session?
Yes, Lindy, this is Jeremy Goldberg, Agency Counsel. We do have a report out for 2 items. The first is with regards to Sacramento County APN 274-0120-104, 105, and 106. The board voted unanimously, giving direction to staff, the terms of which will be made available to the public when the transaction is agreed upon and finalized by the parties. The second report out is with regards to Sacramento County APN 201-0190-043. And on that one, the board voted 11-member approval, giving direction to staff, the terms of which will also be made available to the public when the transaction is agreed upon and finalized by the parties.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Separate matters, item 9 is a public hearing, resolution number 2023-018. This item is continued from the November 17th, 2022 Board of Directors meeting, authorizing an eminent domain action to condemn real property interests for the Reach G component of Phase 4B of the Natomas Levee Improvement Project. Fee interest, electrical and communication facilities easement, and temporary construction easement acquisition over portions of Sacramento County Assessor's parcel numbers 201-0190-038 and 201-0190-039 at 7311 and 7495 East Levee Road in Rio Linda, California. Property owner, Mr. Terrence W. Wells. Chairman Kennedy, before we proceed with this item, I do believe that Matt DeGroot would like to address the board.
Thank you, Wendy. Good afternoon, directors. Matt DeGroot, Real Estate Program Manager with SAFECA. Before we start this item, staff would like to recommend that this be continued for an additional 3 months to our May meeting. To allow the property owners some more time to get an appraisal of the property in order. It's been having some difficulties getting that completed, so we hope this extra time will help them resolve that.
Very much. Any other issues? Otherwise, I don't think that we need a full public hearing at this point if we're continuing, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, are there any questions that the board has at this time? Madam Clerk, is there any comments, public comments, recognizing that we will be hearing this again?
I
Likely.
have not received any public comments.
Right, is there a motion? The chair will move to continue this item to the May 2023 meeting.
Second by
Second.
Holloway.
Second by Vice Chair Holloway. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Director Desmond,
Aye.
Director Martian,
Aye.
Director Sloan,
Aye.
Chairman Kennedy,
Aye.
Director Nava,
Aye.
Director Jennings,
Yes.
Director Kaplan,
Yes.
Director Talamentes,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Holloway,
Aye.
Director Shaw,
Shaw's and I. Thank you.
Director Abdus,
Aye.
Director Lee Reeder.
Aye.
Motion passes with 12-member approval. Next
Thank you.
slide, please.
If there's no other questions or comments from the board at this time, we will adjourn this meeting, noting that the next meeting will be March 16th, and it will be held live here at the County Administration Building. Thank you all for your time. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.